Up ahead, the New York Times gets caught in the middle of another bald-faced lie. And of course, it has something to do with Joe Biden.
We've got to cut through the noise.
Of course, Joe Biden he finds himself in the middle of yet another just slimy, no good, far left lie. But just for a second, before we get into that, have you ever stopped to think about? I know that there's been a lot going on recently, while also there's been not a lot going on. It's kind of confusing. There's been a lot of news happening lately, though, and maybe you haven't had the time to think about just how crazy it is. It's absolutely crazy that Joe Biden is the last man standing on the Democratic side. Joe Biden, he's what? His campaign has been absolutely atrocious. He's the reason that most of us now know the word gaff. Like what? How did he make it this long? Bernie Sanders just dropped out not even a week ago. And he probably drained all of his resources trying to stay in as long as possible. Before we get into that, do make sure that you're subscribed. Hit notifications. Join the Noti Squad. If you don't do this, you will never see me again. YouTube will bury me under a stockpile of wood turning and just and what else do you watch? Do you watch those? Have you seen those weird like videos of it's someone just in a random forest and they're like building huts and ancient buildings out of like bamboo and stuff. I never searched for that, YouTube. But thanks for the recommendation. Okay. Let's get into it. Joe Biden. What is this? How is he still here? Like honest, how is he still in the race? Have you ever thought about this? There is so many things right now going wrong in the Joe Biden campaign. Let's just go through them. Before we even get to the New York Times lie and suddenly flip-flop of morals concerning sexual allegations against a powerful politician, we're going to get to that, trust me. But first, let's just go through this because it's just too good. Think about this for a second. Joe Biden is old, right? He's like 77. He is well beyond the age bracket that is very critically in danger if you catch coronavirus. So he's stuck at his home, right? He's trying to run for president and he can't leave his home because he's too fragile. He cannot risk catching coronavirus. Does that speak leadership? I don't know. Now, there's also this. The recent sexual allegations that have come out against Joe Biden that are more substantiated than anything that ever came against Brett Kavanaugh. Yet somehow, they're not corroborated. Think of how bad the timing is. Joe Biden cannot leave his home. He can't be out there on the road. He can't be doing his thing, stirring up votes and everything. But also there's just this nagging woman that is she's decided to come out and accuse me of something I didn't do. His campaign is going down the toilet. And there's also the obvious. Joe Biden, his mental capacity is just it's not there. It's not there. He is going to get I'll tell you what. If he manages to get on the debate stage with Donald Trump, he's going to get eviscerated. He's gonna get evaporated. Is Donald Trump's gonna be like pew pew? He's gonna be just, well, where'd Joe Biden go? He just got evaporated. Joe Biden ceases to exist. He's going to cease to exist if he gets on the debate stage with Donald Trump. And I'll tell you what, it's not even going to be enjoyable. Usually you want somebody up there where they're going to get whooped a little bit, but it's also going to be slightly enjoyable. It's going to be slightly funny. It's going to be a bit of a fair fight. But if Joe Biden and his deteriorating mind gets on that stage with Donald Trump, he's going to get torn to pieces. It's going to be like watching somebody kick a puppy. I'm going to walk away feeling guilty if I watch a debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. It's not going to be pretty. But moving on to I went down a rabbit hole a little bit. Moving on to more important topics. The New York Times conducted an investigation into these sexual assault allegations that have come out against Joe Biden. Good old Joe Biden. Here's the original tweet from the article they put out. They said, "No other allegations about sexual assault surfaced in the course of our reporting, nor did any former Biden staff corroborate Reid's allegation. We found no pattern of sexual misconduct by Biden, beyond hugs, kisses, and touching that women previously said made them uncomfortable." We found no evidence of sexual assault, except for this evidence of he's probably a creeper sexual assault. What? That doesn't even make sense. But it gets worse. It gets worse. Now, they have since gone in and revised the article. And that tweet was deleted. It's just, delete. It didn't exist. It didn't exist. That's the progressive mindset. If you want something gone, just delete it. I want to see whose sausage fingers. Just delete. It didn't happen. I want to see whose sausage fingers went in and actually did the deleting. Do you think that we're dumb? New York Times? Honestly. And they came out and they said that there was some inaccuracies in the article. Here's the real MVP. Shout out to Jerry Dunleavy. You run a sketchy operations when people find the need to just screenshot anything you put out because they know you're probably going to change it and end up lying. Here's the highlighted part. The Times found no pattern of sexual misconduct by Mr. Biden, highlighted beyond the hugs, kisses, and touching that women previously said made them uncomfortable. And then on the right, we have the new article, newly revised. We took out some of the inaccuracies. The Times found no pattern of sexual misconduct by Mr. Biden, period. Now let me ask you something. How is it inaccurate that Joe Biden, did he not hug and kiss and put his nose all up in people's business, making them uncomfortable? Did that not happen? Because I tell you what, I could do a quick Google search and it will happen. It definitely did happen. There is many instances of that happening. So how is that inaccurate? Why, New York Times, do you suddenly care about corroboration? Something is strikingly different from the articles they published during the Brett Kavanaugh circus that happened a couple years ago. Yet the authors, the New York Times authors, this is from apnews.com, said they'd uncovered a similar story involving Kavannaugh at another freshman year party where he allegedly exposed himself and friends pushed his penis into the hands of a female student. The story said former classmate Max Steyer reported the incident to the FBI and senators as Kavanaugh's nomination was being discussed. But the story said Steyer would not discuss it with the authors. Let me learn how to read. Kavanagh would not comment on the story, a court spokeswoman said Monday. Here's the deal. After the story was posted online, I'm starting to see a pattern here. But before it was in the print edition, we didn't print it yet. Yeah, because so many people are actually reading the printed edition. My butt. They're probably wiping their butts with the printed edition. You put it out online, and millions of people are going to see it, you dum-dums. The Times revised the story to add that the book reported that the woman supposedly involved in the incident declined to be interviewed, and that her friends say she doesn't recall the incident. While an editor's note pointed out the revision, it did not say why those facts had been left out in the first place. Yeah. It's totally not important that the person accusing Brett Kavanaugh of this gross misconduct doesn't even remember it happening. She doesn't even remember. She doesn't remember it. And you felt no need to point that out? But now, when Tara Reade comes out with an allegation against your homeboy Joseph Biden, and she remembers where it happened, she remembers when it happened, she remembers exactly what he said 30 years later. And suddenly it's, we could not find any corroboration. No? You delete? We don't. What are you doing? New York Times, you are such a joke. You pathetic people. Let me know your comments down below about the New York Times. Do you trust them? Do you feel like you're getting the whole story when you read from the New York Times? I'll tell you what. You better screenshot it quick because it's going to get deleted before you can read it. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. You know what? You deserve a nice pat on the back. Gotta follow social distancing. There we go. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's the good stuff.